You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Live every single Tuesday night right here on all your favorite social media networks. That's right, we got the hot copy ready. And don't forget, you can download that audio version on Thursdays at midnight. I'm one of your hosts, Brendan Davidson, alongside our normal new host, Sean Sebastian. And... oh, wait. Mike's not on. I think...
Oh, it's not.
There it is.
It was loose. And is it good?
It's good now. It's good
well,
now.
I said my name and y'all missed it. That's it. I'm not doing it again.
We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
We made sure it was like Keith normally doesn't say his name. What in the world is
it's working because my mic's working, but it hadn't faded out yet.
Well,
I know,
you
but
have to
I
wait
just
till I hit the...
I won't wait.
Now it's good.
I already did it.
Oh, good. You can't do it anymore for the rest of the show.
We'll see when you say that.
How did I know he was going to do that?
Well, I knew you knew. It doesn't matter what you know. It only matters that I do it.
So time and time again, you can't bet managers.
Why is that not on here? I don't know. I mean,
I'll raise you a Yankee.
There's not any quotes from that movie on here.
I know. There's tons of quotes we quote, and we never put them on here.
Including the one that I butchered. And I just made up my own line.
Which one was that?
The private justice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sean corrected me and was like, you didn't say that near. It was like maybe 80% there.
It was close.
It was like 80.
You're killing me, Smalls.
But you know what? It's how you remember it in your heart.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And
That's
ultimately,
what
that movie has stuck with me all these years. I'm just saying. It's just Silver Bullet's a classic. Gary Busey, Corey Haim.
Yeah, it's great.
Reverend Werewolf.
Yeah.
Maybe we should find a way.
I wonder if Corey Haim got raped making that movie.
Whoa.
I'm just,
No.
what?
He was getting raped all the time when he was a kid.
That
Not
was
during
the story
Hollywood.
about the Coreys, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
one
Both
of
of them
them, Feldman, I think, had said that it was. What's his
We
name?
could see how it messed up Feldman.
Haim killed himself because of that.
Feldman
he drugged himself
claims,
or drank himself to
and
death.
we'll never know for sure, I guess, because everybody thinks Feldman's crazy.
Yeah.
But Feldman claims that it's actor for Charlie
Sheen?
Sheen, yes. He said Charlie Sheen was the one who raped Corey Haim.
Ooh, wow.
Yes.
Really?
Of course, Charlie Sheen has denied this, but yeah.
I mean,
Well, he's probably denied a lot.
yeah, for
Well,
sure.
his life.
For sure.
winning.
But I'm just like, that's what I said. So if it was Charlie Sheen, then it didn't happen on the set of Silver Bullet. Now, I don't remember what movie they did together, but or if they just happened to be in Hollywood together at some event and it happened.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is he in the same age range as them?
He's older.
He's
Yeah,
older, but I
he's
mean, like
older,
Feldman's like in his 40s. No, he's in his 50s. He's got to be in his 50s.
Corey Feldman? No.
He's in his 40s?
Yeah.
He just looks-
maybe.
He just looks
late
like
way
30s.
rougher.
Yeah.
But I wonder how old. And then Charlie Sheen's definitely in his 50s.
He's got, yeah.
Late
Feldman is 53.
Are you serious?
I was
Yeah.
right. Ha ha.
My God, that
Called
makes
it.
me feel old.
And Charlie Sheen is 58. So he's not that much older.
Not that
than
much
them.
older.
That would
Yeah.
make sense that they're running around in the same circles.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't see.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they were doing drugs.
There was a documentary
about
about it a while back, and it was like on the set of Lost Boys. He was messed with a little bit. On
I mean, here's the thing.
what was the other
especially-
one? License to Drive was on that set is where a lot of stuff happened to Corey Haim.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, we just had that docuseries release on. Was it HBO? Was it Max? Max released it?
Yeah. Oh wow, there's a new one on Netflix. You guys got to check out.
What's
It's
that one?
it's about the boy bands, and
Oh wait, is that
It's
the
a-
one about?
it's about like the pyramid scheme of.
I've
of-
seen that
of-
one.
So
With
Charlie
what's it-
Sheen.
Hold on,
sorry.
real quick. What's his name? Pearl.
Perlman or
Perlman.
Perlmutter
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because I watched that one.
Yeah,
'Cause he
about
screwed
NSYNC
over
and
both-
Backstreet
oh,
Boys.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
The fact that like they had just blown up and they have this huge nice dinner.
Yeah.
And they have checks and they're like, man, this is gonna be great, and invited their families, and they opened it up, it was like $10,000, and they were all like, yeah, 10,000 is nice, but this is like after a year of work.
Yeah.
And like being skyrocketed to like the
They
top
should
of the
have been
charts.
millionaires.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was easily clear that he was screwing them over.
Yep.
So apparently the accusation was on the set of the 1986 film Lucas. Charlie Sheen would have been 19 and Corey Haim would have been 13.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
And I mean, so
And Charlie Sheen has sued the National
this the-
Enquirer because National Enquirer ran the story.
okay, I was gonna
So
say
there's-
these are the
he's-
allegations that Feldman had reported to the National Enquirer, and they wrote the
they're,
story.
yeah, accusations, and he's actually Charlie Sheen has sued the National Enquirer over it. But yeah, I mean, we'll never know.
Is the
whether it's true or
lawsuit
not.
still pending, or was it thrown out? How long ago was this?
Let's see.
I mean, is this still ongoing?
2017 was when the story was written. So I mean, it's possible it could be still ongoing, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I'm just interested to know if
That's
it
just
was
the Charlie Sheen accusation, though. There's a lot of others.
Yeah.
He's claimed to have been
Quiet on
molested
Set.
and stuff.
Yeah,
That's what
a
it
lot.
was. That was the docuseries.
That was
Quiet
the
on Set.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, the
one.
Nickelodeon.
So I'm like, look, I mean, that alone, there's no question that this stuff's gone on. I just recently listened to Chris Williamson's podcast, or is it Williams? But he had Brett Cooper on.
Mm-hmm.
He does long form interviews, and of course, like he's
She's
got
a former child
yeah.
actor. Yeah.
But she specifically talked about how like she's thankful that her mom stepped in and pretty much was always there, always watching out for her. And she went into detail about one instance where, you know, it wasn't anything wrong or terrible that happened, and thank God it wasn't, but it was her with another girl who was trying to get a role, and they went and met this guy who was this producer that had claimed, like, and she said within like 5 minutes of meeting this guy and him like giving us a warm welcome, he's immediately talking about like his lesbian fantasy of us in a scene. And I was just,
I've heard that
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
yeah.
Or she talked about the same thing on her show
Oh, okay.
at one point, because I've heard her talk about all
But
of
it was
that.
just
Yeah.
crazy because I'm like, as she's saying it, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not been a mystery. It's only now that things are coming to light, and even then, it's like, okay, but one, is it too late, and also is this is clearly still going on to some degree.
Yeah.
And there's clearly actors involved that perpetrate it and have continued to permit it and allow it and without standing up. So I mean, look, you can only breathe so much light onto it, but is it any question that Hollywood is a cesspool when it comes to, you know, exploitation of minors? And it's just, it's awful. It's terrible news. And yeah, that's not the way you want to start off a show.
It's not.
I mean,
It's not.
this movie is it exploited Hugh Jackman. I feel
Yeah.
like for sure
It's going to
in a way that he wanted
Right.
to.
till he's 90.
till he's 90.
That's right. Of course, we're talking about the huge blockbuster that is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, indeed.
He's already, look, I didn't show it.
Oh wait,
got-
hold on.
Did you get that on Twitter?
yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
I was saying, I saw
Posted it.
someone post that on
There's
there.
Ryan Reynolds shared it.
I didn't know
yeah.
he. Oh my
They're eating
god!
ice cream together. It's great.
Yeah, as you can tell, Sean absolutely loved this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We got our official review. Of course, it just destroyed the box office.
Indeed.
Probably looking at destroying. I read today. I think it was Discussing Film that posted it. Said it's no doubt going to break $1 billion by next week.
Which is crazy.
So
wow, yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks out on the market and already
Yeah.
busting $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, raked in over $400 million
I
in
think
its
that's
first
only
weekend.
the second R-rated movie to ever break $1 billion.
Was the
Joker's the first.
because the first one didn't. It
No, the
capped
first
out
two
at-
didn't.
yeah.
The first two were both around seven. One was 750. One was like 760. So they were all around. They both were around. It's the first Deadpool movie to break $1 billion, but it's
Right.
only
They-
like the second
I
R-rated.
thought they
movie,
said
I
that it
think,
was
to ever break $1 billion.
the highest grossing R-rated movie in the first weekend.
It
is
is
what they-
now.
It did break that. We'll read those.
Oh,
through the
opening,
records.
yeah, opening weekend.
Opening weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Joker's technically the highest grossing R-rated film of all time currently, but
Yeah.
that might.
it'll get
That might
eclipsed.
change, yeah.
It seems like it's rapidly going to be outpacing that.
Yep.
Which you have to eat your own words, though, Keith. And I was right there with you last week. We both claimed we thought that this film was going to do great. We didn't think it was going to do this well. We thought it was going to cap
Not right
out.
at the gate. Yeah,
No, we both
yeah.
said though that it was going to fall
Around
within
800.
the.
I thought it would do more than the
700,
first 2.
Yep.
I think I said
Million,
around
yeah.
800. I thought it would do better than the first 2. I didn't think it was going to break $1 billion.
No, same.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just. Well, you know, we got a review.
You know, it's okay. I mean,
We can give our opinions and tell y'all what we think of it and in greater detail, and basically leave you all to surmise.
That's-
no
is it worth it?
I was
spoilers.
going to say it's the second time Disney's made us eat our words because Inside Out too, but
And
I mean,
Avatar.
but Well,
Avatar 2
I did.
was.
I did not
true.
think 2
That's
was going to
true,
be
but
nearly
I
as
didn't
big.
account that to Disney, but technically that was a Disney release, so yeah.
Yeah,
but,
Way of Water was huge.
in the sense that both Pixar and Marvel have been tanking so badly, and the fact that they actually released, like, we'll hear. I mean, I'm happy to eat my words when it deserves to be well received.
We'll get a spoon and a bowl and start eating. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Let's
without
do it.
further ado, here is our review of Deadpool and Wolverine.
The wait is finally over. After 6 long years, corporate mergers, and uncertainty, the third Deadpool has arrived in all its crass, foul-mouthed, blood-filled, R-rated glory from Walt Disney Pictures and Marvel Studios. Directed by Sean Levy, who previously collaborated with lead Ryan Reynolds on Free Guy and The Atom Project, Deadpool and Wolverine, the third entry in the Deadpool series, sees the return of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, after previously retiring the character in Logan. Don't worry, however, Jackman's previous send-off to the character is addressed, and the film effectively becomes a heartfelt send-off to the entire 20th Century Fox Marvel films, with a relatively simple story as far as the multiverse is concerned. Deadpool is snatched by the Time Variance Authority with an offer to bring him into the sacred timeline of the MCU. Upon discovering that his own universe is going to die, Deadpool sets out to find a way to save his universe and loved ones. Enlisting Wolverine along the way, what ensues is a smorgasbord of Easter eggs, cameos, and homages to all things Marvel, both MCU, comic books, and Fox Studios. Reynolds as the Merc with a Mouth and Jackman as Logan both feel right at home, neither missing a beat. Their comedic chemistry is spectacular, nailing the characters' relationship in the comics, and is a true testament to just how well both actors have cemented themselves as their respective characters. The story, while basic, serves its purpose of lampooning Marvel's past failures while introducing the Fox universe to the MCU, and giving it a send-off at the same time. We know the X-Men and various other Fox-owned properties are coming, but this film will be the last time we see these versions of these characters, excepting maybe the possibility of Reynolds as Deadpool, and maybe, just maybe, one last go for Jackman as Wolverine. With boundless jokes and fantastic spectacle, the movie is always entertaining. I personally had a smile on my face the entire runtime. While the story isn't anything particularly brilliant, it does serve its purpose. The story itself relies heavily on jokes, nostalgia, and the fourth wall. It does land well on small and simple emotional moments sprinkled throughout the film. It's never anything grand, but the moments are again true to the characters and their personal motives, both already established on screen and in the comics. It's not much, but it's enough to make the stakes feel real, even amongst the silliness of the multiverse. Deadpool and Wolverine isn't exactly the saving grace of Marvel that many believe it to be, in my opinion, but it is one of, if not the best films released by Marvel since Endgame, and possibly the best entry in the Deadpool saga as well. It's why people go to the movies, to laugh and be entertained, and it succeeds in every way a Deadpool movie should. It may not build toward anything larger, but it's exactly what fans wanted in a good way. I give Deadpool and Wolverine 3 out of 4 stars.
There you have it.
Indeed.
3 out of 4 stars. Quite the positive review.
I like it a lot.
I did too.
Lot.
I think we all went and
I
saw
think
it.
it might be my favorite of the 3 Deadpool movies, to be
Oh,
honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have to weigh it between that and the first, but I mean, they're both awesome, so.
We'll go around the table. So, Keith, we obviously got your review. Sean, what about you?
I went 4.
Whoa! 4 out of 4 stars. Sean's giving it a near
Yeah.
perfect
Absolutely
Better than
loved the
Endgame.
movie.
That's
score.
crazy.
And you did see it twice.
I saw it twice. I liked it better the second time. I was when we came out of the theater, I was settled on 3.5, but after seeing it a second time and not feeling like I had to pay attention in certain spots, I was able to see other fan service that I didn't catch the first time, and I just if you're gonna put that much heart and soul into a movie, and like Keith said, it doesn't really play towards the greater story as much as I think people probably would have hoped. But for what it is, I feel like it's a perfect movie for Deadpool. Like, it's better than the first two. It's the best movie since Endgame that Marvel's put out. And the first two Deadpool movies were funny. They were true to the character. I think they're good movies, but I don't feel like they have the heart that this movie had. This movie got me emotionally multiple times, both times that I saw it, even after I knew what they were going to say. It landed every time, so I walked out thinking this is just a perfect movie. I love it.
I didn't even give Infinity War or Endgame 4 stars, so that's why I wouldn't go like that.
I think this
for,
is the only for you. This is the only 4-star movie in the MCU.
I actually on Saturday I didn't have nothing to do, and I watched Infinity War and Endgame back to back.
Yeah.
And then went and saw Deadpool again with my dad on Sunday, and I was like, I like this movie almost better. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I actually settled in the same spot as Keith with the official review. I settled on 3 out of 4. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Going to see it Thursday night, midnight release. Say his midnight release. It was close enough. But it was one. Just the thrill of being in a theater.
That was
I think the last
with other
time
people.
I was in a packed theater like that was Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
True. Oh, yeah.
And even then, it was the following week after it came
Yeah.
out. So I can't even imagine opening weekend of it.
Well, even Marvel, like the last several Marvel movies haven't had like even opening. Like I remember back during the Infinity Saga, we would go to opening night of all these Marvel films, and IMAX was packed full. There wasn't an empty seat in the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that hasn't happened with any, like even No Way Home was full, but not packed the way the Infinity Saga was. And this is the first time in a long time, like just to see that many people packed into IMAX to see Deadpool and Wolverine. I was like, this is awesome.
I think that's one of the reasons that it set so well with me is because it's been so long since I've felt that kind of reaction in a movie theater, and to feel that again for like the first time, and I was thinking Endgame, but I actually forgot about Spider-Man, and you mentioned No Way Home while the review was going, and I'm like, yeah, that was literally the last movie that had any moment where people clapped and really cheered and gasped and were truly surprised. And I think it's one of those things where if you can do that in a film that gets that reaction from people, then you deserve all the praise, because there's not a lot of films that can do that, and Marvel hasn't put anything out that's been able to do that. People walk away pissed at Marvel, and I think this is one of those movies that definitely rekindled that flame for me. I just hope they carry on.
That's my biggest concern, because while I love this movie, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to have fan service and nostalgia, I feel like that's really mostly what Spider-Man No Way Home and this movie bank on, is all that fan service and nostalgia. And while it works perfect for Deadpool and the fourth wall, like I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not trying to knock it. You can't do that with every Marvel film.
No.
So how do you carry on? It's like when you don't have we're
gonna get spoiled.
Yeah, when you don't have the nostalgia or the Easter eggs, like the next movie up is Captain America: Brave New World. It has to stand on its own 2 feet. So it's like, as great as this movie is, and I'm happy that this movie's great, it's like, what do you do from here? Because you got a little bit of goodwill now, but you have to carry that goodwill forward and make great movies going forward as well.
And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the headline segment. It's pretty much an MCU themed night because of some news that broke over the week. But
all the buzz.
I do think with this film, the reason I settled on 3, maybe knocking off that 4, the way I'd rank it is 1 is still, I think, my favorite, just from the introduction of the character and it truly being something unique and different, even though it was under the 20th Century banner at the time. But there was, 1, then 3, then 2. I felt like 2 came so closely behind 1, and it just felt too similar to what 1 was. A lot of rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
It just didn't. And again, part of that was them. I can't remember if 2 came out post. I want to say it was post buyout, because they still couldn't mention. Or was it? It was well before.
Yeah, 2 was before.
Because
I thought they filmed it before, but it released after.
I think it may have released during their acquisition.
All I know is that they couldn't say, because they had the cast members of certain characters from X-Men in there, but they couldn't call them out by name. And like
they could use the X-Men characters. They couldn't use Marvel characters.
Okay, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Technically, they were still Fox. They weren't Disney. Yeah.
And so, I mean, and again, nothing wrong with 2. It was entertaining. I just thought it was more of the same. Whereas this one, I felt like maybe it was the time span of releases, plus throwing in, I mean, they did do a good job of having an emotional comeback for, Logan, aka Wolverine.
Yeah.
In that, they immediately address the elephant in the room of like, wait, Logan's send-off was in Logan. How are you going to bring him back and do it justly? That
it was very well done.
Right, I was going to say. And this is going to segue a little bit later into our headline segment because, again, another major reveal that just happened. You're going to have a lot of people starting to, I think, call out the MCU in so much as that when you start resting on your laurels, or you could accuse them of that, and bringing back older talent to, garner the excitement and get everybody, up in arms about like, hey, oh great,
Definitely
I'm
seems
ready to
like
go.
a desperate move. But
Yes, it could.
Yeah,
it could easily.
yeah.
I don't think that was the case in this film. I
No.
definitely think it
no,
paid
not
off.
for Deadpool. Yeah.
This was Ryan and Hugh wanting to have that for a
Right.
long time.
It really did seem like a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
And from start to finish, it felt like it had not only the ingredients of the original Deadpool, but even, that they wanted to make this something special. And of course, again, without minimal spoilers, it is a great send-off to, in the same way that No Way Home was kind of a
send-off to
the other Spider-Men that you had come to know, whether Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. I think this one was kind of a send-off to that 20th Century Fox line of
Marvel
superhero
films, yeah.
Marvel films that, we know are
it
not
was
going to
a really
carry
good
on.
job of
Yeah.
them doing that. I did appreciate that. For me, I think why this movie is one of my favorite, might be my favorite Deadpool movie of the three, is a lot because you could tell it's a labor of love between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. The fact that it is also, to me, just one of the more not that Deadpool 1 and 2 didn't. They nailed the characters. They were very true to the comics. But this just felt more like the comics and what Deadpool is and his relationship with Wolverine than even the first two movies, just because they could use all the aspects of the Marvel universe because they were no longer separate. It's like because it's part of the MCU,
True.
you can have Deadpool, Wolverine, you can have other Marvel characters. You can put Deadpool in kind of some of the zanier situations he's in the comics because of the nature of the character and his ability to break the fourth wall. He's able to commentate on things and to do things that if you do it in another Marvel movie, it's kind of like, this is weird, this is bizarre, doesn't make sense. But Deadpool can get away with it because that's his shtick. That's what he's supposed to be there for.
And again, not definitely don't want to go into spoiler territory, but
Right.
one in particular is perfect how they play that that dichotomy of a role.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give too much away, but it was perfect the way it was played because you're thinking one thing, and then when it turns out to be something else, you still get caught off guard. And you're like, oh, that was brilliant.
You're talking
that
about
was
the
great.
bait and switch.
Yes,
It was
and
really good.
That was fantastic. But main reason I knocked off the 1 star is all of the great that we're talking about. The one major negative, and this is what I've heard from most people who didn't like it, because I actually had two at work who were just, one was like, I liked it. It just he still thinks 2 is better. He thinks 2 is the best one.
Oh God.
Another person absolutely hated it.
Oh, wow.
Did not like it at all. Thought it was dumb. Wanted to walk out during it. Yes, I know. I'm
Worried about these people you work with.
all I'm saying is didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
claim that I did love it. But I agreed with them on this one point, which was it is a singular story, self-contained, mainly for the send-off of 20th Century Fox. And ultimately, when it comes to Emma Corrin's character and Nova, what's her name?
Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra Nova. Sorry. When it comes to her character, I feel like it obviously that plot line took a back seat to everything else that was going on. Not as strong of not only a villain, but also not as strong in terms of her antics and in terms of screwing up the timeline. They allude to and make fun of there being a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And clearly that's the case. And I didn't mind that. Again, that's well within the wheelhouse of Deadpool and
yeah.
then making fun of it. But when it came to the grand overall scheme of how this fits into the greater MCU moving forward, definitely not getting any answers.
Yeah.
If anything, if you didn't watch Loki or if you did watch Loki, seeing the TVA for being even more involved and on the big screen this time, that's a huge piece of the puzzle that is now firmly cemented.
Well, it's the only Marvel movie that's
Addressed
used the
it.
TVA.
Yeah.
Right.
Since Loki.
And that's the crazy thing is even though Loki
It's the
ended
last
pretty
one you
much
would
with
think.
season 2,
Yeah.
it's like we just had a whole phase where
Yeah.
they were hardly ever recognized.
You would have
think
thought
about- yeah.
Ant-Man would have played into that since Kang is part
I
of
expected
Loki and
TVA
Ant-Man.
to
like-
show up in both Doctor Strange and Ant-Man,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
didn't. And it's funny because when you think of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the Infinity Saga,
Yeah.
especially the
Right.
first, like
Yeah.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was all over the place
you
because,
have Cole.
yeah.
Was it Colston? Or what's
Coulson,
it?
yeah, Agent Coulson, Nick
he shows up
Fury,
all the time.
Yeah, like even though like they weren't a huge part of the story until the first Avengers, like they did have those pieces, Nick Fury. And
Oh, I remember
Agent
seeing Coulson
and, yeah,
show up, and it was like the first time you see him, and I forget which movie it was.
in the first Iron Man.
Was it? And,
yeah.
and when he is revealed at the end to be part of, because he says the acronym, but he says it all the full
or
thing.
it
Yeah.
may have been the second because Nick Fury's revealed at the
I
end
think you're
credits.
right. I think it is at the end of Iron Man because
But because he's talking to Pepper Potts and everything, and he's
it's
like,
right before he goes up to do the presser,
Yeah.
and he mentions and he says
Yes.
like the whole name or
Yeah.
something, and you're supposed to piece together that it spells out
Shield.
Shield.
Shield, yeah.
And so, and I remember everybody
He says
just
Shield
being
for
like,
short.
Yeah, he
Like
did.
when
Yeah.
he done
He-
saying it, he says Shield for short.
yeah,
and it's
But-
just that was a mind blowing moment
Yeah.
because people immediately thought, are they doing this?
Yeah.
Are they expanding?
and that's what the TVA should have been for the multiverse because I think it could have created some sense of cohesiveness amongst all the movies, but they that was the biggest problem with the multiverse saga is there was no cohesiveness. Even like between Loki, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, the rules of how the multiverse worked were all over the place
Yeah.
in each property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And that's my only gripe is that this movie, while is great and honestly, it's a great popcorn flick. It is absolutely fun to be had. Obviously, if you're of age.
Yeah.
I don't think you're
I've
taking
s-
your boys to this
well,
anytime soon.
On
You
Sunday,
shouldn't,
there
but
were
I've
little
seen-
kids
yeah.
in
Are
the
you
theater.
serious?
And
I
my dad and I were both just like, those kids are like 10.
Oh yeah. I've seen people
younger.
online that
That's
were like, I
ridiculous.
took my 9-year-old,
Yeah, I
they
couldn't believe
loved
it.
it. And I'm just like, yeah, this isn't a movie you should take your 9-year-old
when we went and
to.
saw Halloween Ends,
People
I think
don't
it was
care.
Ends,
People
I
don't
was
care
like,
anymore.
no, that's ridiculous.
People don't care anymore. It's sad.
Yeah, or Halloween Kills. It was when we saw
was
Halloween
Halloween
Kills.
Kills,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I mean that's just that's ridiculous. I mean, it is. I mean that's the other thing too that we were all anticipating for such a long time since the buyout was. Is Disney going to be true to form and release a rated R Deadpool? No doubt.
Yeah.
This is
I don't
fully
think
through
Ryan
and
was
through.
going to do it with otherwise.
Well,
Right.
Feige, he confirmed at Comic-Con that Blade will be R-rated, which makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that does.
But I do ultimately like this film. It just, in the greater scheme of things, won't really hold up as far as being pivotal for the MCU.
Unfortunately, yeah.
It ultimately is just another instance in the Deadpool franchise. And even then, you could argue if Deadpool pops up in other aspects of the MCU and Ryan Reynolds returns as that role, which I think is a given, I don't think... I don't know if we're going to see another Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
And that may be saying, oh, that's
Reynolds
ridiculous.
claims
if-
there's not going to be a Deadpool 4. He said his family will divorce him if he makes another Deadpool. but you expect an actor to say, I'm not doing anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But
we'll
it's just
see.
crazy because, and I would agree. I think, one, end on a high note, but two, it is a character that if, again, you get so much of, and there's only so many kind of shticks and fourth wall and jokes, crap and sex jokes humor that you
Right.
could throw in there that you're just like, okay, seen this enough, had enough.
I'll say I recently watched 1 and 2 before the third one came out, and it's like they ramp up from movie to movie, first of all, but it's just like when you think there's nothing else they could say, no, they find something else to say,
And that's part of
Yeah.
the ingeniousness of the writing.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
very good
this
dialogue,
one
yeah.
had like 5 writers, and we know how much of a fan Ryan Reynolds
Yes.
is
Yeah.
to make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
I just,
Well, he was one of the writers, so
Right.
that makes sense. Yeah,
but I just don't. I don't know. It could be one of those things where I'm saying this now, and I'm like, the movie's gonna make $1 billion.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and they know immediately if Ryan came to them with an idea tomorrow, they'd be like, do it.
Yeah.
do it.
Deadpool's a
Greenlit.
character I think works better with other Marvel characters anyway. Like the first 2 Deadpool movies were great, but having him interact with Wolverine like really like just helps. And then like there's a run of Deadpool comics where he's like buddying up with Spider-Man, and if they did a Spider-Man Deadpool movie, that would be hilarious.
I just want to know how those would work. Where, I mean, in the rated R films, he's able to say what.
Right.
He
Well,
would
if you
say,
make it a Deadpool, like
but if
Deadpool
it's-
and Spider-Man, it can be rated R.
That's true, but if he ever was to appear in an Avengers film or
They'll
with
tone
the
it
X-Men, they would have to make it. I mean, those are all PG-13, but it's still.
They do the same thing in the comics. Like even in some of the comics, like he'll have like a speech bubble that'll be like like just symbols instead of a word, and he'll be like, "What the heck? Why is this?" Like it's just he just makes fun of the
like,
fact
will they
that
beep it out, or will he just make fun of the fact that he's in a PG-13
I could
movie
see that
and has
being
to turn
pulled
it down.
off well once if he pops it. Like, and when I say once, I mean like if it's a huge film like Avengers where it's like he's got to be a part of it.
Yes.
They could easily pull that off. I think it is weird because you can't have one or the other. You can't really have. Yeah, and it's interesting because you really would have to segment it off as like, here's your PG-13 content, here's your rated R content. So it is interesting in that fact that I
mean, he's in other like you said, he interacts with the Marvel Universe constantly in the comics, so it's just a balance of them being able to break the fourth wall, but not always having to be as crass.
Real quick, I wanted to ask, did they clear up why him and Marina Baccarin's character weren't together in this one? Is that in the second movie?
No,
in this one?
It's all in this movie.
It's in this
Okay,
movie.
I totally missed that.
But that's also a different. That's not the same.
That's not the
girlfriend
one that he saves
from his universe.
Right.
Like
so
she was a different. She
Well,
was
he goes
a
back in
variant.
times and stops her from being killed, but that would technically make her a variant.
Yeah,
then.
she's a variant.
But basically, she would still be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But the whole point in the movie was that he retires or whatever.
Oh no!
And
That's
she's just
right.
like,
That's right. Never mind, because there's the flashbacks. For some reason, though,
it's all covered in the flashbacks.
That's right. Because I just thought the way the movie starts. So I'm not spoiling anything. The way the movie starts, I just couldn't remember if they do dive into that, and I forgot why they were split up. But I do remember the flashbacks now.
One of the things that I've really appreciated amongst the three movies is because he's not a character that you would think has a like an arc. But from the first movie, he's out for revenge and out for his self and to save her, but that's mostly self. And then in the second movie, he's an anti-hero, and he jokes about it because he's trying to do good, but he's also being himself, and those clash.
Yeah.
And then in the third movie, he's broken down because he wants to be
a real hero.
He wants to have purpose.
Yeah.
He wants to matter. That's
Right.
the line from the movie. And so he wants to be needed and a part of a team. And I think that's an awesome arc for an anti-hero, which is what he's kind of supposed to be, to go from a selfish, a-hole to, well, now he's got some friends and they want him to join, but he's still trying to pull away and doesn't want to do that, to now, no, I need to be a part of a team. I need to team up with somebody. I need to matter. I need to be needed. And I love that because I feel like Deadpool is so crass and violent and everything else that you don't expect that emotion and that from a character
honestly,
like that.
I'll speak to that too within regard to this movie. I mean, it definitely has moments. I mean, like, no, I'm not breaking down shedding a tear, but there are definitely slower moments that, one, they don't last too long, and they also aren't rushed through.
No.
Both with Deadpool and with Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I thought both of them are well done to the extent that you would expect this kind of movie to have that kind of heart, that you wouldn't expect it. That when it pays off, you're kind of like, oh, that was a really good moment.
Something somebody might find blasphemous. I think, even though it's so small and simply done, I think Wolverine's kind of emotional element and motivation in this movie was better and fits his character from the comics than the send-off in Logan.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. No,
I know, like, it's like, oh, he makes a sacrifice in Logan and he dies to save, the girl, and that's it. But
no, the
character from the comics and as he is.
And I think they underpin that with the gravity of what's at stake and with the conversation between him and another character.
That conversation is what cemented for me as like, you know what, that was better than
and
Logan.
it's just, and it's surmised by one line, and it was when the
I don't want to spoil the line.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say who. When the person says, "You were never the best."
You were never the right one.
Never the right one.
Yeah.
When that is underlined, it was almost kind of like you've always.
Says you were always the wrong one. I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yep.
I just want to get it right.
Said wrong man. I thought she
no.
used a man.
We don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much. I don't. Yeah.
No, that
we've
scene,
already said a pronoun.
That scene got me. And
well, Logan's a man.
Yeah, Logan's a man.
No, we said she.
She.
Oh, I was just
I was trying to keep from revealing the sex.
Well, they don't know who
Wolverine's
the she is.
Could be a
Wolverine's
they,
moments
them.
were the ones that got me emotionally the most. And then
Agreed.
one scene towards the end of the film where Deadpool is welling up with tears in his eyes and says, "I've waited for this team up for a long time." And the way he says it, that got me too, because I'm like, so have I, dude. I've been waiting for this team up for a long time.
Well, and you could tell it was a non-fourth wall moment, but it was.
Yes.
He's saying it to the character, but it's for the fans as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. It was a guy at work, the one who loved it. He was the one that actually mentioned in passing. He said that because I know Ryan Reynolds has spearheaded Deadpool, but he said Hugh was the one that apparently reached out to Ryan when he knew he was thinking about doing it, and he was like, I want to come back for this.
I've read that online. I didn't know how true it was because I didn't read it from like a legitimate.
Apparently